You are invited to join our Speak Out World family. Visit sowpodcast.com and sign up today for new episode alerts, guests and blog updates, and member-only content. Join our Speak Out forum to keep the conversation going or start a new one. Remember, you have a voice, use it.
Dozzy Daniel right after this break. Stay tuned.
Family in the house.
Welcome to Speak Out World. Listen, we have an awesome guest. Our guest, Dozzy Daniel, is making his way up on the R&B scene, and he's one of these young artists that's doing it his way. And so we are so excited to have him be on the show. He's originally from Illinois. Welcome, Dozzy Daniel. Welcome to Speak Out World.
Hey, yo.
Thanks so much for being here. We can't wait to start talking about your music and what you're doing, and especially your song that's dedicated to the struggle and to civil rights right now, to what's going on. I'm just going to jump into it. Tell us about this latest project that you have, and how did this all come together? I know you, from what I understand, you grew up in the church. You grew up being a musician. So how did you come to do this project on your own?
So, first and foremost, thank y'all for having me. It is an honor to be a part of the show. Growing up in the church, I mean, music became one of my, just something that I just flowed to, just became one of my loves. I come from a very, very, very musical family on both sides. I just more recently in the last couple of years, I wanted to really, really dive into the music scene, just learn to appreciate just an opportunity to be able to share and express myself the way that I can, the way that I'd like to. So. Mm-hmm. It's been pretty cool just kind of going on that journey. I recently put out my first EP, my debut EP, in February, and it's entitled Lessons. And so, it was birthed from just wanting, I always said, for the first project that I wanted to do, I wanted to pay homage to those that came before me and that just instilled so much in me. And those that introduced me to music, and those would be, those two individuals would be my grandfathers. And so my mom's dad, I grew up, he was a Baptist preacher, pastor on the west side of Chicago, there going Sunday school and things. And then my dad's dad, James Carr, he was a blues singer out of Memphis. And so just both sides, both, having church and growing up, within the faith. And then on the other side, just having music heavily, just heavily influencing who I've become. I just wanted to honor them with this first project.
Wow. And I have to say, honor them, you really did. I mean, if your paternal grandfather, James Carr, I can remember going to a museum in Macon, Hall of Fame music down in Macon, and I'm just like, okay, James Carr, like this is an artist that was singing alongside with Otis Redding, and I mean, just had all, the good soul music, and so you're coming from that, and I got a chance to listen to your project, I mean, and it's going on, so you really pay homage to them, just in your style and just in your music. Dino, I'm gonna let you jump in here.
Yeah, Dozzy, tell us about your songs like Guard Up and Galaxy. What motivated you to write these songs?
So Guard Up was the first song that I wrote of the project. Guard Up, actually, the entire project, the whole EP, was kind of a happenstance thing. I wasn't planning on doing it. I happened to walk into a friend of mine, a producer who became the producer of my project, Raven, shout out to him. He invited me to come by the studio that he's working out of, and he was like, yo, come check it out. I said, sure. So I roll up, to the studio. I get there, and, he's showing me the space. I'm like, oh, this is dope. That's what's up. Mm-hmm. And he pulls up a track and was like, yo, I heard your voice on this, and you need to use it. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I was on my way to a rehearsal or something. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I didn't come up here to do any of that, but I mean, sure, like, he was like, so what do you want to talk about? I was like, we're going to write this right now. At the time, like, I was, I carry a lot of stuff on my heart, which is, why I'm grateful to even have an opportunity just to share, my experiences through my music. And so at the time I was just kind of like, feeling really, really insecure about just life, relationships, and different things and different experiences. A lot of my music is written, with a surface, kind of a surface level intention. And then there's a much deeper intent behind it as well. Kind of a subliminal message, if you will. And so, just kind of at the surface, I was, involved with this girl, and I was kind of like going back and forth, and she was going back and forth, and it was just a bunch of insecurities around the whole thing. And I found, just very transparently that I do enter into, like whether dating or relationships and all that stuff into it, feeling, whether insecure or, just all types of stuff. And I was like, and just kind of come in and guard it. And so like we started talking about that, and, he started singing this hook. And I was like, okay, I can get with that. And within minutes, I had written the verses, and we had a song. And I was like, I didn't expect that to come of it, but I was glad that he invited me to the studio that day. And then with Galaxy, just kind of along that same lines, like you said, I come from Illinois, and I come from a long line of just church goers and, faith believers and Christ followers. And so, growing up in the church, those securities, not just within just relationship or relationally, they kind of transcend those things and kind of move over into the spaces of what my life is supposed to look like, And so I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, where I'm supposed to be going. I grew up, heavily involved in the church, and I just knew off the bat that I didn't necessarily want to do gospel music, nor did I feel, just kind of this heavy pull to do gospel music. And so when I went to write even Guard Up, it just, the lyrics just kind of flowed, real smooth. And so I was like, this is my space. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so sometimes it can be, just kind of hard to navigate when you got a lot of people who influence, or a lot of people, just influence or have kind of a say in what you do. And so I just kind of was like, I want to live. I want to, and I'm kind of an introvert. So I like to go into a space of my own and just kind of be there. And so, and then those kind of point back to, in relation to just my grandfathers and how that ties into them. I was thinking along the lines of, I just remember growing up, like hearing all the time, like parents and grandparents and different folks who wanted to have say and kind of the things that we do and influence over those things. Like I was 21 once, I was 25, I was 31. And we can so easily dismiss them and, kind of dismiss their experiences because, like, well, that was then and this is now, and those things.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know that that's fair, again, to their experience. It just removes them. And it's like they experience, heartbreak and all these other things as well, and experience insecurities and wanting to live their own life. Like they did all of that, and those kind of transcend the person and just where we are. And so, so I was kind of like, I want to write from a place of, just kind of honoring, like I said, honoring them, like they experienced this stuff and they would look like I wanted to release it, around my birthday. And I said, I wonder what they look like in their 20s, moving into 30, what their life experiences were. Did they deal with the same stuff? And, having just the lessons that they instilled in me to kind of push forward and move forward with the experiences that I have, and just trying to honor them well is what Master was.
Well, I think this project definitely honors both sets of grandparents well. You're not just only a singer and a songwriter, you're also a musician. Is that correct? Do I have that right? Okay. And so, as a musician, as a songwriter and artist, you already talked a little bit about bringing your lessons, into your craft and then into, your artistry. And I want to know how you saw yourself navigating as a new artist in the music industry, because a lot has changed from your from your grandfather's era, you 50s and 60s, but a lot has changed since your parents' era. So how did you look into navigating into the music industry with all these new streams of media now that young artists have to promote themselves?
Yeah. For the longest time, I didn't think I had anything to offer. I didn't think I had anything to give as an artist. And I spent so much time comparing myself to other singers, musicians, and different things. And then I kind of did away with that and just realized, just kind of, like I said, I come from church, and I turned to the Lord and was like, what I have, like, what's so special about me? And I felt like he just kind of looked at me and was like, it was almost as if he were, standing in front of me and like, what I gave you or what I've given you is not good enough for you. And
wow.
And I just kind of said to myself, because it's very, very much like, you giving somebody a gift and them looking at you, like, this ain't good enough. And that's
right.
Like, that's what it felt like. So I didn't think I had much to give to the music scene or anything like that. So after working through that, moving into just kind of wanting to be an artist, I just remembered the stories of my grandfather, James Carr, who had just a rough time in the industry. And I always told myself that I didn't want to be signed, or that I would be an independent artist. and I would make my own. I didn't want anybody else making those for me. I didn't want anybody else having control. And so like just kind of moving into just the artist realm, I wanted to almost in a sense redeem what it looked like to be an artist within my family. And so that was kind of what my efforts were for that. So, I mean, I'm an independent artist now. I'm more open to other opportunities and things like that now, because I feel like I've at least set the tone for what I hope to the message that I hope to share with listeners and anybody who will hear.
Well, Dozzy, your music seems to have a spiritual undercurrent. How has your faith helped you in the music industry?
Oh, my faith is everything. Like I said, I mean, I looked at myself and didn't think I had much to offer. I mean, but God is so beautiful in the way that He is consistent in providing and giving to us. And so like He just constantly just kind of put me in places and offered me, just giving me opportunities to continue to push forward in my music. And it's all an effort to glorify Him. And I do want to make Him shine, and I want to make Him smile. And so, yeah, everything that I do is not within my own efforts or strength.
Amen.
So, I mean, everything that I have to offer is to Him and for the people that He loves so much.
Wow, that's amazing, because a lot of times, especially, I mean, it is a story that has been told generation after generation for so many different artists. The turmoil, the conflict sometimes, especially when you grow up in the church and then you decide to express yourself as an artist that is not exactly fit into the gospel arena, but you're still a person of faith and you still have a relationship with God. And so you just kind of, it's just kind of that conflict. In addition to your family is just like, we don't want to see you poor. We don't want to see you out here struggling and fall into all the traps that, artists go into. And if you become successful, there are other traps to that. So, but how do you, since you put so much of yourself into this project as a songwriter, as a musician, and as a singer, like what was it like for you? Just like the reality, like I'm cutting my very first project, like I'm in the studio, really doing my thing, what I envision, what I put together and put in all these feelings out there.
It was, I mean, it's a very vulnerable thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'll also say, like, it was kind of surreal, hearing everything back. And I'm like, that's me? Is that me? Is that really me? I remember the first time that I started letting people hear, Guard Up. Like, I had friends, like I said, it can be such an interesting thing to try to navigate, when a lot of people kind of see you in one light, and then, you kind of are moving, or, the things that the Lord has kind of like put on your heart and stuff like that. And so I knew that I wanted to share so much more and offer, so much more, outside of the four walls of the church. And so like, shout out to like artists like Toby and Wigway and Tori Kelly, who, and Lecrae and different ones who continue the way for artists like myself, who are very just sure of their faith and sure of where they stand, but also want to, give a message to everyone that'll hear. So shout out to them, who I can, like look up to and listen to. And so it was interesting letting people hear Guard Up, because they was like, that's not you. I'm like, this is not you. And I was like, yes, it is. And so just having a compilation of just all the music after it being written and stuff like that, and just letting people hear it. They're like, what is this sound? Because this sound, I have the just distinct privilege and honor to be able to serve at my church, and serve at other local churches, and just being able to like sing there and lead worship and different things like that. So that is kind of it's a different approach for me musically. And so this was just more of an expression of art and the creativity that the Lord has allowed me to have and that He's given me. Whereas like my worship is my offering back to the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
So like those are kind of two different approaches, but I was excited to be able to create in a different way and then hear it back. It was just kind of like, okay, you got a little
Yeah. I love the songs on there, and we're gonna listen. You all can go online. You can Spotify and Amazon, and be able to, catch the songs and listen to Guard Up. I mean, as you're listening to the songs, and you talked about your style. How would you describe your style of music? Because if I'm not mistaken, like, you are in Philly, and so Chicago has its own groove, and Philly has its own groove, and all the influences that you have. Like, how would you describe your sound?
Yeah, I mean, my sound is evolved and morphed over the years. I there were artists that I studied when I was writing a project and different ones that I was listening to, different projects that I was listening to, and so I honestly, it's weird to try to figure out a way to describe it because I don't know that, and I've been encouraged and told by others that, I don't know that I hear people who sound like this. I don't know what the sound is. And so it's kind of got like an R&B pop, kind of vibe to it. But as far as the writing and just who I intend to like just kind of reach artist wise, or who I, hope to look like or reflect, or people like DJ Morton, Stevie Wonder, different ones like that as far as writing goes. But I love voices like her or Lucky Day, Rick Liam, and Darius Scott, and Ajani Hambrick, and all these other, like even underground artists that I listen to, and that I just kind of like trying to find my sound. But my sound just came from a compilation of or a blend rather of a bunch of different styles, coming from although, growing up in the church and stuff like that, my first like true pursuit of singing was jazz music.
Okay.
I joined the jazz choir in my high school, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And, I didn't think anything of it at the time. I would just sing. And so that started to shape my sound. Like I said, I grew up in the church. So everything that I heard was gospel music. I didn't grow up nice.
Right.
And so I remember the first time I heard John Legend, I was like, I want to do this.
Who is that? Yeah.
And so, just kind of taking that, and that became a thing. I wanted to sound just like him. I wanted to be an artist just like him. And then that, quickly morphed into just like, being more involved in singing in the church and stuff like that. And then just being a lover of just classical music, because like you said, I'm a musician, I play horn. So just being able to play that music and then singing classical music and all these other things, I was like, I want to do all the things. Let me do everything. Sound like everything at one time. So,
Dozzy,
yeah, what's up?
Tell us about Sweet Dandelion. I want to know about this.
So Sweet Dandelion came in, and it's cool because, even we're talking about classical music, that song, I definitely wanted to emulate just kind of a classical sound. So I had strings, I got strings put on it, and just this beautiful piano. Shout out to Kermaine Booker, who did the strings, and Amos Evans, who did the piano for me. But Sweet Dandelion came from a really, really dark place, with being in quarantine and everything, and COVID hitting and stuff like that. I was going through a really, really tough time. And what didn't make it any better is seeing, repeatedly, people, Black people, our kings and queens just getting shot down and, just from their homes, within their homes, outside of their homes. And it was very painful to watch. And at the time, I wrote it back in May. And at the time I was, reading, Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye, which is a phenomenal read.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
She's incredible. She's incredible. And I remember I wasn't too deep into the book, and I remember getting into the book, and I read this part where the main character, Pecola, is running down the street, down the sidewalk to the candy store, or to the corner store to get penny candy. And Ms. Morrison describes it just so eloquently. She just, the language of it is just so beautiful. And I remember she paused at this one part of telling this particular part of the story to describe dandelions. She saw a cluster of dandelions. Pecola, the young girl, saw a cluster of dandelions just around the telephone pole, and she wondered why everyone thought they were, weeds, and why they were so, ugly or repulsive, why they were seen as such. Because according to her, she thought they were pretty. And immediately I thought back to when I was a kid, and I was like, no, I remember, walking around seeing them things and being told repeatedly that they were weeds. And, I was like, it was so interesting that she continued to kind of go on and talk about the uses of the dandelion and dandelion rooting. So I looked, I got a little research in me. So I started, looking up, dandelion and found out so much about it. The many uses for it. In tea, it's been used for cures in medicine and so many other things. It's a caffeine substitute, has so many different uses for it. And I was like, well,
how could this be a weed?
How could this be a weed? So I was like, okay, well, let's look up what a weed is. So I looked up weed, and weed is just simply defined as anything that's unwanted or undesirable in a specific place. And I was like, okay, so if that's the case, it's so easy for us. And I felt like she was pointing to what it looks like to be Black here in America. And so if we look at just kind of the parallel of what that is, us as dandelions, and a well-manicured lawn being America. And it's like, dandelion it looks out of place. It looks, and when we see weeds, our first instinct is to pull them up, uproot them, cut them down. And in a well-manicured lawn, that's what you would do. So here in America, that's what it can feel like. I have seen it as a weed, something that is repulsive, that is undesirable, or rather, just even Blackness in and of itself, seen as a weed and being pulled and uprooted and cut down because it disrupts what this is supposed to look like.
Wow, that's deep.
And I was like, we are not weeds. And I wanted to write this song.
Amen.
It was meant for, for people of color, for Black and brown people to, for us to see ourselves, that we are beautiful, that we are needed, that we are wanted, that, we have use, we have value. And then, it was, meant to, and meant to, to go to white people, and those who don't understand, and simply saying, because the chorus is see my color, see me, see me. And so we simply just want to be seen and valued, not just appreciated for our culture and our presence being appreciated, but our voice to also be valued.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. And that's, when you talk about our voices being valued, I feel like the purpose of any artist is to make sure that their voice is being heard, even on something, like with our venue in terms of the podcast, it is dedicated to arts and activism, and to be able to
Yeah.
do that research and pull from that. Like, I really love listening to artists and how their process, right? And how here it is, you're reading The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, and then seeing that and it triggering, and then the song and what's going on. And I mean, that's just how God uses our gifts, and he connects it all together and still pour it out to people, to be able to uplift people, to be able to speak to people's hearts and to speak to people's souls. So, I mean, I love what you're doing. I love your songs and the meaning behind them. Just the depth, the deepness of it all. So now are you, I mean, COVID is hit, so I know that kind of hit your traveling ability. I must tell all the Speak Out World viewers, listen, I got a chance, me and another producer, we got a chance to check you out live while you were in the Atlanta area, and to be able to hear you and a lot of great other young upcoming artists that, I mean, just out there doing their thing. And so it was just such a great environment. So how has COVID, kind of killed your game in terms of being able to get out and do live performances right now?
Well, it was, I mean, I had quite a few, situations set up. I travel quite a bit. And so, like, within the travel that I do for, just work and through my music, I was setting up to have and host more listening parties in the spring. And those did not happen. So my travel got shut down. I just picked back up traveling again and able to do music on the road again. And so it was quite a long season of being still, which honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Definitely needed it. The time revealed a lot of stuff for me. And so just like taking a new approach to a lot of things, and, just being empowered in different ways and stuff like that. More recently I'm trying to take advantage of it. And you were just even kind of to touch on some of this, what you were talking about, even in regards to this platform, this amazing platform and opportunity that you give other artists, to just bring value and, to offer, an opportunity to share their voice. Like one of the quotes that just within this time that just kept ringing, was, the quote of Nina Simone: "It's the artist's duty to reflect the times." And I absolutely intend to do that, with everything that I do and everything that I have. So, just within this time, what am I learning? What are we learning about our world, about people, about our country? What do we believe about our world, about our people, about our country, about our God? Just so much just being uncovered. And so that's kind of just the space that I've been in. And I do want to reflect the times.
So what's next for Dozzy Dan?
So what's next? I got some things underway. I am working on another. I haven't really shared it, but I'm working on more music and hoping to put out an album actually next fall. So we got that underway. I'm in the process of also just putting together some live performances virtually, so I can share those on on my different social media and website platforms and different things like that. So I really want to maximize just the music that I have and just share that with people. I would love to get it on different platforms and for different whether it be shows or whatever, just I want to share that because it meant a lot to me. Sweet Dandelion is something that I'm definitely pushing, that I want people to hear and really take hold to as their anthem, for just seeing themselves and having other people see them.
Okay. Listen, you all really, really have to go on and check out his music.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to go on and check out his music. So I don't want to give too much away, but I'm gonna give a little bit away. So you do this great intro of the Bee Gees song. You don't know what it's like, right? You do your own intro. You don't know what it's like to love somebody,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you hear this amazing voice. I mean, it just takes you back to, real gold soul R&B. And it's your grandfather singing a cover to the song. And you just kind of lay it out in the beginning with a little bit of intro, and then, bam, there's James Carr for you. Okay, if you haven't heard him, now you know. And so I'm just curious, like, now that you're doing your thing, you putting your music out, you're honoring both of your grandparents, especially your grandfathers who had a great influence on you. What feedback have you received from your family now?
Oh, wow. My family, I remember, I'm a blow this spot up real quick. I remember my parents, particularly my dad, but it was only rightfully so. Like, he had seen just the lifestyle that his father lived. So I think he was a little more hesitant and, like, just my wanting to pursue anything outside of gospel music. And so he was just kind of like, I don't want it. I don't like it. But then they heard it, and my mom will tell me all the time, like, I just love hearing you sing. It's one of the greatest feelings ever to have. My parents mean the world to me. My family means the world to me. So just to have the support that I have from them, they came up for my listening party. I typically try to do something real extra because that's me for my birthday. And so I did a listening party on my birthday, and they were moving that weekend, and I was like, y'all really don't have to come. And they made, like, hell and high water, came, and they was right there in their seats. And I was like, I drove all the way here just to, for this. So it was just to have their support, like, continuously just throughout the years, and even, more recently that I'm just having, putting more effort into my music and pursuit behind it. Just having them behind me just means so much. My siblings, just being able to, even now, I'm moving into working with my brother who's producing, and all my family, like I said, I come from a very musical family, so they're all singing and stuff. And then just my extended family, we did like a family reunion call recently, and they were just all talking about it, like, oh yeah, we heard it, it's good, it's great, it's really, really cool to have their support. And that, I guess it just goes to show, like, when the Lord just kind of puts something in your heart, despite those who may not see it, then, I was reminded, I'm not getting ready to preach, I promise. But
it's too late. It's too late for that. You've already done it. It's already in you. You already put it out. We're about to collect the offering right now. Altar call. Okay. Anyway, but as you were saying.
I think of people and like so many people, like I've had like mentors remind me of just the story of Joseph and how people, his own family didn't see where he was going or where he would be. And, just after going through so much, he finally ends up in a place where he saw himself, and like his family didn't even recognize him. And then just the reconciliation that happened within that. And so just like I said, to have my family support, despite what, they may expect from me and all these other things, when they see the finished product and when they hear it, it's mind boggling just to see how they are here for me and they here with me. So, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Right.
And I'm telling you, that's so encouraging for young people to be able to hear that, and for parents and grandparents to be able to hear that, because when you realize that, okay, I've put everything into my child that I possibly can, and you have to trust what is put in them. But what I love about your music, and again, for me, having watch you live in person and even tell the story, what you give it back to God. And then you also give back to your family, like you give back to both of your grandfathers that had a great influence. So it is that homage that you give to God, that you give to the Lord, and that you give back to your family. Um, it's like the project is just like blessing. People are seeing that, and they're just like, oh, okay, so it's all coming together. And I just want to, say congratulations to you. I'm so glad. And then, the Speak Out world, listen, if you all have not heard his music, Dozzy, Daniel, tell them where they can go and find your music and listen to Sweet Dandelion.
So my music is on all digital streaming platforms. You can find it on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon. It's on YouTube, everywhere. And then folks can, if y'all want to, just keep up with my journey. I'm on Instagram mostly. I'm on, other platforms too, but mostly Instagram is where I'm sharing most of my stuff and what's going on with me. And that's at Dozzy Daniel. I think it'll be somewhere as well, but that's at DOZZYDANIEL. And then my website is www.dozzydaniel.com.
All right. Well, you all, you heard it first. Go on, listen to that music, Sweet Dandelion. Listen to his grandfather, James Carr, the legendary great James Carr. And I mean, again, thank you so much. Anytime you want to come back to Speak Out World, you know that you have a place here. You have a place here. And we so appreciate you just taking time out of your busy schedule to share, with us your journey as an artist and what you're doing. I don't take it for granted. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was an honor. It really was.
Well, listen, Speak Out World, you know how we sign off. I'm your host, Jewel L.
And I'm your host, Dino L.
And always remember that you have a voice, so be sure to speak out world. All right. Yes.